Evacuations are now in place as toxic chemicals are raining down from the sky. People's cars, people's homes, and people themselves are getting covered in this sticky substance, and officials are warning people to wash it off and to bathe themselves thoroughly if they are exposed to this. We also have evacuations going on in multiple other states like California and Oregon, and we're seeing eruptions of major volcanoes. So let's get into all the details here. You guys can see this is what's happening right now. This is what's being reported in Louisiana. This is happening in southern Louisiana. And people's cars, people's homes are being covered in this soot-like substance. And this is due to a major explosion, and evacuations have been ordered in southern Louisiana. This actually happened on Friday. I reported when it first happened, but we weren't getting these stories yet that this stuff was raining down ash and soot and toxic chemicals onto people's homes and onto people's cars. All right, and evacuations are still in place today, 3 days later, for a 1 mile radius of this explosion that happened here. All right, we're also getting evacuations being issued in California right now and Oregon. We will get into more of that in just a second, but I want you guys to watch this video really quick.
Firefighters overnight finally able to get a handle on this blaze, saying it's now 90% contained after a fiery explosion rocked that factory in Louisiana. But it's the environmental concerns that are now only growing. Officials say a series of explosions first occurred Friday at Smitty Supply. That's a petroleum manufacturing plant, sending plumes of smoke billowing into the sky. And it's that black soot that now has officials so worried. They're urging people to stay indoors, saying to wash your hands and faces if you touch it. Officials say they're still testing exactly what is in that soot, but saying that it's associated with, get this, hydrocarbon chemicals. Even the EPA has now launched a special aircraft to test what exactly is in that air. In the meantime, everyone within a 1 mile radius has been ordered to evacuate, even an elementary school. Officials there warning of falling debris. And guys, investigators are now on the scene trying to figure out exactly what caused this, but still no word.
All right, so you heard that there. They're saying the fire is 90% contained by Saturday evening, and in a Sunday update, it says the Louisiana State Police said the fire was still 90% contained and that a mandatory 1 mile radius evacuation was still in effect. They said here, quote, overnight additional resources, including specialized heavy equipment, have arrived. Response crews have begun removing structural debris and addressing covered hotspots. A containment berm is being established around the site, and recovery operations will continue throughout the day. They're also saying that, quote, environmental response efforts were underway to address the fire's potential effect on the nearby Tangapoa River and adjacent waterways. It also said that, quote, all air monitoring results have shown either non-detectable readings or levels well below health-based or actionable thresholds, and that their, quote, continuous air monitoring remains in place. All right, and you heard that there. They also have the EPA out there with their special air monitoring planes to detect any type of chemicals. They believe that the soot contains both combustibles and hydrocarbon chemicals, according to Louisiana State Police Sergeant William Huggins said on Saturday. All right, so this is a concern. All right, you saw these pictures here. These are people's cars. This is happening to people's skin as well too, to their animals. You can see this stuff is drying on people's cars. It's running down, mixing with the rain, and this is concerning, right? They're also saying that this could now affect the waterways. You can see here, this is the exact address of where the Smitty's supply was, all right? And it's right outside of Roseland, Louisiana. You can see it's in southern Louisiana here, all right? Closest biggest city is Baton Rouge. Not very close, but that's probably the closest biggest city. But you can see this river here as well too, the Tangapoa, and they are worried that there could be contaminations into the river and the surrounding waterways. You can see there's lots of little lakes and ponds around here that fill up and flow, some of them into the river, which eventually makes its way to the Gulf. All right, so something to, and Lake Pontchartrain. So just something to be aware of, right? This could contaminate multiple waterways on the way down. It could affect wildlife and marine life, and a lot of these chemicals that are produced from these major explosions, like dioxins, are very hard to get out of the environment and get out of the soil and the water. Right? It just takes time. All right, and these things eventually percolate into the soil and can potentially even get into the groundwater systems as well too, right? So just something to be on the lookout. They are worried that this is going to be an environmental issue now as well too for this entire area of Roseland and surrounding regions, right? We also have evacuations being put in place right now in Oregon as well too. It says evacuations expanded Saturday as a fire moved towards the outskirts of Sisters, Oregon. And this is from the Flat Fire in Central Oregon. You can see some of the pictures coming out from a couple days ago from the sheriff's office, and it looks pretty apocalyptic, right? And these fires keep popping up, right? You can see here there's a lot of smoke coming from this part of the country, right? So you can see this fire here. The Bear Gulch Fire is putting up a smoke zone in Oregon right now. Brown alerts are being issued to, quote, stay indoors. They're also warning people to stay inside from this Louisiana explosion as well too, still warning people that there's going to be residuals of this in the air and in the rain. All right, you can also see these fires that are happening in Idaho and Montana are causing purple alerts to be issued as well too for, quote, everyone to limit or avoid outdoor physical activity. All right, so this fire has grown to more than 21,000 acres. It is 0% contained, and there's almost 4,000 homes in the evacuation zone, with 1,000 of those currently under level 3 go now warnings. It says about 10,000 people were under some level of evacuation notice in that area that stretched from Lake Billy Chinook to the east side outskirts of Sisters. It says hot, dry weather continued to challenge fire crews Saturday. So you can see this evacuation order that's been issued outside of Redmond and Sisters, and they're saying 4,000 homes approximately, which is a lot, are in this. It's easy to write these things off when it's like, oh, it's this little area out in the middle of, rural Oregon, but 4,000 homes here. Okay, imagine if that was your neighborhood, your subdivision, everyone evacuating there. It is life-changing for certain people, right, that are experiencing this. And this is just one fire. Now multiply these fires by dozens or hundreds over the course of just a year, right, where we have situations like this, evacuations. I'm covering new ones every single day that are happening here. Also, evacuations have expanded for California as well too, right? You can see this is from Cal Fire, and they are warning that this fire, the Pickett Fire, is causing evacuations warnings and evacuation orders outside of Woodleaf and Pope Valley, California. All right, so which is right near Napa, where a lot of the wineries are. So this is threatening wine country right now, this massive Pickett Fire. And you can see here it's being reported at 6,803 acres right now. And they do have the air tankers dropping water the past few days, but the area is extremely dry. There have been winds, and it has been spreading. All right, so something to be aware of and be ready for, especially if you live out west these fires are popping up even in unexpected places, even in places where it's more populated. We are seeing these fires, right? Think of the Palisades fires right outside of LA, and they can happen anywhere, all right? And that land is now being sold off, I just read too, to a foreign investor. It was just revealed that a foreign investor bought, I think, like 9 different lots in the from the Palisades fires for around $60 million. Let me look this up really quick for you guys so I can get the accurate information on this. But a foreign investor has bought the Palisades fire land, right? Pretty wild. You can see here it says foreign investor secretly snaps up $65 million in iconic Malibu real estate destroyed by wildfires. All right, so this just happened earlier this month, and it just doesn't feel right. All right, $65 million for these properties. That money should be going to the homeowners, and rebuilding their homes, rebuilding these properties for people to live here. And it's going to be totally different. We don't know exactly what they're going to do, if they're going to, build investment properties, build hotels here, build their own little private beach area here just for them. All right, we don't know exactly what they're going to do, but it's concerning to see this land just burnt to the ground, and then it's sold off to foreign investors too. And they're saying it's happening secretly because this land was not even on the market for sale, and apparently they were contacting landowners privately, like tracking down who owns each parcel of land and getting their contact information, tracking them down, and giving them offers essentially they can't refuse. Okay, this was only, I think it was under 10 lots that they bought, maybe 9 lots, and it sold for $65 million. This is prime real estate here, right on the beach, but it seems like he also gave them offers that they can't refuse, and this all kind of happened in the background. All right, these properties were not for sale. These people were probably anticipating the government to come in and help them clean it up, and it never happened. And these properties too in Malibu and from the fires, they're still just sitting there, right? People are driving by them every day, these busy highways, driving next to these destroyed homes, and it's just ruins. It's a reminder every day of what happened, and they haven't even started cleanup in a lot of these areas. And they're saying because a lot of the cleanup is toxic, which is probably true, but it leads to situations like this. Now this entire strip of land here is owned by a foreign investor, right? It doesn't seem right for people's homes to burn down, and then this is the aftermath of it, right? So just be on the lookout for things like that to happen in other places too with these fires, because a lot of people are desperate after it happens. A lot of people don't have anything left, and then they're not getting the help from the government as well too, from FEMA, from the federal government, or from even state government. California government, local governments have been stalling and delaying a lot of the cleanup and a lot of the permitting processes, things like this. People are reporting that there's been delays, and there's been almost just like a prevention of people really moving forward and trying to make this right. Let's get into more details of some of the earthquakes that have hit over the past 24 hours. Okay, we've had volcanic eruptions from Kilauea. You can see here an alert has been issued from the USGS. It says episode 30 of the ongoing eruption ended abruptly at 2:52 a.m. Hawaiian Standard Time on August 23rd after a 12.6 hour of continuous fountaining. All right, and you can see here is some of the fountaining that happened from Kilauea, and pretty incredible, right? This is the 31st episode that's happened just since December of 2024. So not even the past year, the past 8 months, almost 9 months, we've had 31 episodes now, and on average, that is almost once every single week we are seeing an eruption from Kilauea, right? So significant that this is a major pressure point releasing. This is one of the most active volcanic regions in the entire world, this volcanic chain in the Hawaiian Islands, and Kilauea is on the quote big island in Hawaii, and it's kind of controlled chaos right now. We're seeing these slow pressure releases. We're seeing the pressure valve being released, like I said, on average about almost every single week if you average it out over the past almost 9 months. But at the same time, this pressure, if it's not released continuously like this, if say we go months without any type of eruption from Kilauea, when it does erupt, it could potentially be a lot bigger, right? So it's almost good that we're seeing these continuous eruptions. It's like opening the stop valve. It's like pressure's building up and we're opening the valve up, letting it release in a controlled manner every week or so and letting this happen. But once it stops, honestly, that's when I would become a little more concerned about Kilauea, at least, right? So just something to notice, something to be aware of is that we are moving into a period of increased volcanic and geological activity, I believe. And you can see here from the earthquake map, there's been a lot of activity, right? A 5.4 hit the Fiji region, right? You can see here. That was our top one over the past 24 hours. Also a 5.4 hit near Russia, Kamchatka Peninsula, and a 5.0 hitting near Chile. All right, look at this activity in South America. A lot more, right, than you'd typically expect. A 4.8 in Ecuador, 5.0 in Chile, 4.3 in Chile, and another 4.3 and another 4.8 aftershock tremor that hit the Drake Passage here, where we just had the 7.5 that hit a couple days ago. Okay, so we're not out of it yet, right? And the USGS predicted as well too, when this big 8.8 hit the Kamchatka Peninsula, the USGS put out a report that over the next few weeks after and over the next few months after, we are going to continue to see realignments and readjustments and aftershocks and tremors throughout the entire world related to this 8.8 that hit Russia, right? Even the USGS was warning of that, and it's true. Look at what we've seen over the past, it's almost been a month. It happened on the 29th. It's now the 24th. Over the past 3 weeks, we've seen a ton of earthquake activity. You can see here Alaska is getting a lot of activity, a 3.0, a 3.2 there. We have some earthquakes also hitting near Mount Spur as well too, right? So something to keep an eye out for, all right? The West Coast and California is having a lot of tremors and earthquakes right now. Just in this frame here, you can see there's 37 earthquakes. If you zoom out to the continental United States, we're seeing 118 earthquakes right now in this frame. And if you zoom out as well to include Alaska, we are seeing around 150 earthquakes, over 150 earthquakes that have hit the U.S. in the past 24 hours. So lots of activity and lots of realignments and pressure being released. A 2.2 hitting Idaho near Yellowstone, a 0.09 hitting in Montana, and another 1.5 hitting in Montana as well too. And they just released a report as well saying that they have detected actually thousands of earthquakes per year over the past decade that have went undetected, all right, that were under Yellowstone. They went back with AI and reanalyzed a lot of the geological data and a lot of the seismic data from these earthquakes hitting, and the AI was able to identify thousands of earthquakes in the seismic data that were not previously identified. All right, so they were anticipating it was under 5,000 earthquakes per year that were not even being detected, that were underneath Yellowstone. All right, so there's thousands of them happening every single year that we don't even see on these maps. Okay, these maps are only as reliable as the USGS, whatever information they put on it. Okay, so it is reliable, but it's also, there could be a lot of information that's missing, right? And I think there is a lot of information that's missing from these earthquake maps that we see. All right, so just something to be aware of, something to be prepared for. These fires as well too have been causing lots of smoke alerts throughout the entire country. You can see all the way down in Texas near Houston. All right, let me know if you're in this part of the country, but you can even see yellow alerts have been issued. It says unusually sensitive people considered reducing outdoor activity, go inside to cleaner air if you have symptoms. Even all the way down in Houston, Texas, they are being affected from the smoke and air quality is not good. You can also see around Baton Rouge, which is not far from Roseland, where these evacuation orders have been issued. You can also see air quality in Baton Rouge has not been good as well either. And you can see going back over the past few days here, this is yesterday at 5 a.m., it still had bad air quality in the yellow, and it says unusually sensitive people consider reducing outdoor activity, go inside to cleaner air if you have symptoms. And you can see it's been increasing actually over the past day. So it's probably a combination of smoke from wildfires and actually this explosion here in this fire that happened in Roseland, Louisiana, which is not far from Baton Rouge. All right, so something to be aware of, something to notice, and if you can get out of these areas, evacuate if you can. All right, especially this area in Louisiana. I'm worried that this is going to be similar to a East Palestine, Ohio situation. Not exactly, but similar in the same vein, where the environmental disaster is going to be a lot worse than anticipated initially. All right, I think this is going to have lasting impacts. I think we're going to see waterways affected, things like this, for at least a few weeks, bare minimum, maybe even longer, for especially in the immediate area. I think soil contamination and groundwater contamination are very high possibilities and probabilities. I mean, think about it. You're not supposed to dump any of these things, right? And if you check on like the EPA water website, it will even tell you where there's risk to your groundwater, right? And a lot of times things will show up that are like gas stations or dumping stations, things like this, because it contaminates the groundwater in the surrounding area, right? I lived at a house in Florida that was out in the middle of the orange groves, and by law, we installed a well there. You had to have this special carbon filter casing on the well to prevent this nematode repellent that was sprayed there decades ago, right? Because the soil was just still contaminated with it, and they figured out it's highly toxic. So now anyone that drills a well there, they have to have this special well casing and filter on your well and everything, so none of it leaches into your water. And even then, it's still sketchy, right? And there's a whole program for it. They would reimburse you and give you money for the filter and everything because it was so bad. So something to think about for these areas, just something to be aware of if you live here. I know it's kind of, devastating to think about. Has this ruined my home or my property? But it's possible, right? And you should definitely look into it, test the water, get a water test, maybe test the rain as well too to really see what's in the stuff. They say they're doing testing right now, but I honestly feel like most of the time with a lot of these things, they just say it's no big deal, it's okay, don't worry. I mean, that's what they say 9 times out of 10. I've really rarely seen them, actually tell the truth about these events. All right, it seems like they mostly try to just sweep it under the rug. So thank you guys. Let me know what you're seeing down below if you live in this area, and let people know. All right, post your pictures online, let people see, because this is not normal. This is very concerning to have stuff like this, and authorities are warning, stay inside, wash yourself off. But is the water you're washing yourself contaminated with? Where is this water coming from? Is it coming from a reservoir nearby that is contaminated? Is it coming from your groundwater that's potentially contaminated now? So looking at these things, hope you guys are staying safe, staying prepared out there. I hope you have big blessings for your life and your family, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.